Hey guys, Cathlex here, bringing another black and white narrated Wi-Fi battle. This is a UU tier battle against 808 high definition from YouTube. This is before I put any teams together for UU, so I was making some RU pokes, and I was like, I'll just see how these guys go together. So I leave my mid-berry crunch, which is my focus punching Poliwrath. I always wanted to use Poliwrath, it's a pretty cool poke. So he leaves with an Aerodactyl, goes for the rocks while I substitute, because I knew he'd go for the rocks. He might have taunted, but if that was the case I would have to switch out anyway, because this guy isn't really the best when he's been taunted. So I go for the focus punch here, thinking he'd probably switch out to something like the Espeon, something that would resist it, but he doesn't. He goes for the Earthquake. So he's going to get hit by a focus punch, which is going to be pretty hard, but he'll probably live because he has Fit Sash more than likely, as most lead Aerodactyls do, so mine does, for example. So I'm going to make some strange plays here, like they'll seem ridiculous when I make them, but it's because I was scouting for moves, because I didn't want to take an Earthquake because I didn't know how much it would do because I didn't have any boosts up. So I switched to Flygon to predict if he hits the Earthquake, which he does, or to take the Earthquake, which he does. And then I think to myself, oh shit, he probably has Ice Fang because he didn't taunt. So if you don't taunt, usually you have Ice Fang. So I'm like, crap, better switch back out to Poliwrath to take the Ice Fang, and therefore that's why I switched back, which is why it looks like I'm an absolute retard for switching out, taking more damage than I had to, and I could have just killed it off with a Waterfall. But he doesn't have Ice Fang, as it turns out, so I should have just stayed in with Flygon and killed him off. So he hits me with an Earthquake, which is going to do not actually that much overall in the end, and I kill him with a Waterfall. So that's the end of his Aerodactyl. At this point, my Poliwrath is pretty low on health, and it's, you know, a sub-bulk upset, so when it's this low, it's not particularly useful. And it's an RU poke too, so I was just kind of bringing it for shits and giggles. But you know how it goes. So here I make a retardedly bad play, and I switch out to Heracross, predicting God knows what went through my mind when I thought this. I'm like, I know, I'll switch out to Heracross because Psychic isn't super effective. Oh wait, I'm an idiot, and there goes my Heracross, which would have made this game so much easier. Because Scarfed Heracross is one of the best pokes in UU at the moment. So I switch out to my Mew because I resist his Psychic, and I have max HP, so even if it has Shadow Ball, well, he's not Specs, obviously, which means I won't do too much, and he's not got a Life Orb, so I should be alright. So I go for the Transform here, knowing that I have way more HP than he does. And yeah, and I have leftovers, and he doesn't. I don't think he does at the moment. So he goes for another. I go for a Shadow Ball here to see how much it'll do, and it looks to be a 2-hit KO. And he's just going to go for a Shadow Ball on me. But at this point he thinks I'm Scarfed. Not Scarfed, sorry. No, he doesn't. That was just stupid. You should just ignore what I just said. I win the speed tie and hit him with the Shadow Ball. And I'm prepared to sacrifice Mew to kill his Espeon off, but he's apparently not prepared to sacrifice his Espeon to kill my Mew off. So he withdraws and goes to Chansey to take a Shadow Ball, which won't take any damage from it. Which means, at this point, the set that I transformed into is Psyshock, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, and I think Hidden Power or something along those lines. Or maybe Psychic, Double Stab, I don't know. And so I just start Calm Minding up, and he goes for the T-Wave, and I copy his Magic Bounce so he T-Waves himself, which is kind of funny. I think he predicted me to switch out, because he's like, well, he won't stay in with especially attacking you on my Chansey, but he has Psyshock, so I'm just going to Calm Mind up a bit, and hit him with a Psyshock. And at this point I can live a Seismic Toss, so I can Calm Mind again and go for a Psyshock next turn, which is probably going to do a decent amount to Chansey, because Chansey's got good physical defense but not the best physical defense, and I have 2 Calm Minds up on a relatively, I'm assuming because it's his poke, bulk, high damage Mew, not Mew, Espeon. So I hit him with a Psyshock, and I think it does about 50%, which is pretty good, because Chansey, as you probably know if you faced one, is a massive whore, and it can pretty much wall nearly every poke that doesn't have a fighting stab move in the UU tier. So I switch back out to my mid-berry crunch, mainly because I know it'll die to anything in his team, and I go for the sub thinking that he might just go for the T-Wave, but he goes for the Seismic Toss, and I go for the sub because my only fighting move is Focus Punch, which obviously you have to use behind a sub, and he probably knows that by now, thinking that's what I would do, so he goes for the Seismic Toss, and I'm just going to hit him with a Waterfall, which probably won't kill. I don't think it does, no. I go for a Focus Punch, thinking maybe he'll knock down for Seismic Toss now, but he does anyway, and I'm not particularly bothered because wouldn't have been that useful overall in this battle. So down goes that, and I bring in a Flygon to kill it off with a Earthquake. Sorry to scare it off with a Choice Bandit or Choice Scarf or whatever I decide to go with. I know he's going to switch out because he doesn't want to lose his Chansey, because he can probably heal it back up with a soft board at any point in the game. So I go for a Tailwind because this is my mixed Flygon. And so with Tailwind up, I go for my Draco Meteor because it's my Dragon Stab with my mixed set. It carries Draco Meteor, Fire Blast and Earthquake with Tailwind for support. And he hits me with the Will-O-Wisp, which kind of nullifies my Earthquake as my physical side, but I do have 2 fighting attacks, 2 special attacks, which isn't too bad. So I'm not feeling too bad about the Will-O-Wisp. And my team now has a Tailwind behind it. So I switch out to my X-Wing, which is my special Crobat, which is out of this team. The only poke that I kind of keep using in the UU tier is the Crobat. Like, I do use a Shaman, but now it's Specs instead of Life Orb. And everything else in this team kind of got just tossed out, really. Well, not tossed out, I still have it, just don't really use it. So he switches out, and I go for a Nasty Plot. And this is good because this Crobat is timid, which means it outspeeds basically everything in the entire game, including most Choice Scarfers. And it has a Tailwind, which means it had like 840 speed at that point, which is really hilarious. So I go for the Giga Drain just to get myself some HP back, and his Espeon dies. So I really shouldn't have really stayed in with Mew. I think he should have just switched out to something else, and that way I'd still have a Mew to probably win the game with. But he goes down to Chansey, and I go with my Stab Sludge Bomb. I know it won't kill because it's only at +2, and Crobat's special attack isn't actually that good. It's only really, I'm only running it special because it has a Nasty Plot and people don't expect it. And he hits me with an Ice Beam, which doesn't really do much at all, which I'm surprised about because I thought even with Chansey's, well, that's kind of the risk you run with using Evilite Pokemon, because they don't have the attacking stats of their evolved forms. I'm not saying that Blissey has great special attack either, but you know, just if it was a Blissey, it probably would have done a little bit more. So he switches out to a Zubra and probably to kill him off with an Aqua Jet. So I switch out to Shaman just to take it because I don't want to lose my Crobat just yet. And even with the rocks, I should have a decent amount of HP left, and I'll outspeed his entire team. So Shaman takes the Aqua Jet pretty well, and that's cool because now he's going to switch out because he doesn't want to take Seed Flare to the face. So he goes up to Dusclops, and I just go for a Leech Seed because everyone, you know, that's just what you do. If you know they're going to switch, always go for a Leech Seed because Leech Seed is just a great ability to have. Unless you know they're going to switch to a Grass type, in which case you go for your Hidden Bay Ice. So he's seeded now, and I don't think I stay in because I don't want to stay in on a Dusclops because I can't really, because it's especially bulky and it resists Seed Flare. So yeah, so I switch out to X-Wing, and he goes for a Nightshade. I thought I might, you know, I thought he might have Will-O-Wisp, at which point I would have lived because Leech Seed was on him, but I don't. So out to Flygon I go, and I'm just going to go for a Draco Meteor, I think. Yep, and it's not going to do all his health, but it does enough to the point to which I can kind of work around how much health he's got. So he could Pain Split me, but after burn and other damage that he gives me, he's not going to get any health back. So I get Leech Seeded here, which means I have 2 turns to do stuff, and he gets down to like basically no HP. So thinking I'm just going to kill him off with a Draco Meteor or a Fire Blast, at this point he goes for a Nightshade. But I kind of thought about it in my head, and Draco Meteor and Fire Blast have a tendency to miss when I kind of want them to not to miss. So I just went for the Tailwind here to make my Shaman the fastest thing in the game, which works out alright for me because now I can kill this Dusclops off with the Hidden Power Ice. And I know that his last is Evi, and most Evis are mixed, and even if it's not mixed, it'll have Ice Punch. So I kind of thought when Flygon came in that it'd be a real stretch to win the game. So that Tailwind is really the only thing that kept me in it. So he goes to Azumarill, and he goes for the, I would assume Ice Punch, predicting me to over-predict. But I'm not going to because of the fact that I have 1 poke left. So when you got 1 poke left, you just play it straight up, you know. This is how it goes. So in comes this Evi, and my Tailwind's still up for this 1 turn. And I'm like, Life Orbed Earth Power, well, he's totally screwed. But apparently not, because Life Orbed Earth Power doesn't kill an Evi. So he lives and kills him with a Flamethrower. And I'm not sure if that's a draw or that's his victory, but either way, that's how the battle ends, and it was a great battle. I've pretty much progressed to using actual teams in UU now, so I don't really just throw the random pokes together anymore. But this was a great battle. Check him out on YouTube. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description, and